Good evening, friends. This is your host, Nung Ajihil, and you are watching your favorite talk show, Cuento, Politica, Otro. This evening, this is going to be a special edition because the regular time slot for this would be Saturday, but we are coming out live to you because this afternoon, we commemorated the 25th death anniversary of the former chairman of the Regional Autonomous Government, the Regional Executive Council, the late Honorable Ulbert Ulama Bob Tugung. And with me this evening, who came all the way from the United States of America just to be on time for this grand celebration of the 25th death anniversary of her late father is the illustrious son of the late Chairman Bob Tugung, and I am honored to have with me tonight Yusuf Asraf Tugung, popularly known as Joey to friends and relatives. Joey, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nung. It's a pleasure for giving me this opportunity to speak before your popular TV show and also this TV channel with good friend Joel. My first time to meet him after more than 30 years. And I came here to Zamboanga in Basilan purposely to commemorate and celebrate the 25th death anniversary of the late Bob Tugung. And to all the televiewers, buenas noches con ustedes todo. And mga tayo mga Muslimin, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Muchas gracias, magsukur. First, let me thank you and your mom, the former congresswoman, and who also was once the chairman of LTV, El Norita Pamarantugong, for inviting me to be among those who gave a testimonial during this afternoon's commemorative celebration of the 25th death anniversary of your late dad. Such a great man, such a great man, and reason why we people who love peace has to give him the due honor, the due accolade, celebrating the 25th death anniversary of a very, very good person and once a leader of Region 9. And in your person, I am so happy to have you. I know you have come a long way from the United States of America just to be here to celebrate this occasion. And first of all, let me welcome you back.
Thank you.
You have been out for quite a time. I think almost 20 years.
No, 11 years.
Oh,
11 years to be exact. Yes, I've been away for 11 years. Not only me, but including my siblings, Aisa and Bimbo. Manada di ato mga televiewers, not only sa Zamboanga but also in Basilan. They know them. Okay? They graduated in high school, and all of us are in the United States, not because of the threat or the situation that we have, but because of the economic reasons. And I would like to start off the person, Bob Tugung, in relation to why we migrated to United States.
Please do
yes,
it.
Because Bob Tugung, what happened to him when he died in November 22, 1986. He died a poor man. In his bank account, he only had 25,000 pesos. And it is rare, very exceptional, for a current political leader to only have 25,000 pesos in your bank account. They're holding millions and millions of pesos, and they have houses left and right, mansions, palaces, and the goons, the guns, and the golds. But Bob Tugung, during his time, he did not have that.
Given the fact that he was the #1 official in the region.
Yes.
The chairman.
Yes, if we factor that in, when he started with ORC and followed by his chairmanship with the LTP Region 9, that was the little Malacanang of the South.
Right.
And they were holding not only millions of pesos, but billions of pesos. And the chairman, the late Bob Tugung, he has the authority to dispense the money. And yet, as a real public servant in his covenant with his people, his constituents in Region 9, he did not embezzle any of that amount. No charges has been filed against him. No real property, personal, that has been bought for that he bought. And the kind of lifestyle that he was living at the time when he was alive is a paragon of a real public leader. Modest in his desires, He has no vanity. Because of his compact with his people, he has to dispense the money in accordance with what has been planned by the Regional Development Council at the time.
You know, that stands very well among our people. And I quite agree with you that despite the power that he was given, so immense, he never took advantage.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
I was once, humbly, I was once part of the LTP. In fact, in my testimonial this afternoon during the occasion at WIMSU, I said that I owe your dad a great favor.
Yes.
Because he appointed me as Senior Regional Development Officer at the time.
Yes.
I had to move from then Department of Agrarian Reform to LTP because I had some, conflict with my regional director.
Yeah.
So I could no longer swallow the guy. I went to ask your father, and without much ado, he told me, just file your transfer from DAR to LTP, and I'm going to appoint you. And he did appointed me, and so I keep on saying this as a tribute, to the greatness of the late Honorable Albert Tugung. And so you are here. We are happy. I'm sure our people have missed you a lot. You have been away for quite a time. And indeed, you're coming for this very, very great event, the commemorative anniversary of the 25th death anniversary of your late dad. We are so glad to have you. Now, let me ask you this.
Can I say something in that regard? Because people might probably misconstrue that I only came this year to commemorate the 25th death anniversary of my late father. The fact is, every year since I left the country, every year I am here.
Oh yeah,
always to coincide November 22.
Yeah.
It is because of my love for him, and not only that, to touch base with the people of my late father, because we know what is happening in the place, in Basilan, and also in the region. In my own little ways, humble ways, when I meet people, we discuss politics, because that's also my favorite subject matter, and as much as possible I try to continue his legacy every year, not only this year. And the celebration that we have today at WIMSU, where thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that was the culmination of the activities that we had that started last Monday. Last Monday we had with the Rotary Club of Basilan, and I was not able to make it because of the delayed flight. And then followed by the following day, that was 22nd, we had also an event sponsored by the senior citizens of Isabela. So the one that we had this afternoon, where you graced the affair, was the culmination of the activities. And the beauty of that noon that we had this afternoon, it was very significant because the school, Western Mindanao State University, my late father was an ex-officio member of the Regent.
Board of Regents, yes.
Yeah, Board of Regents.
Yes.
And it is my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, he was one of those, together with Admiral Espaldon and the late Dr. Bruno. He was the regional director of DEX at the time.
Yes.
They were the three people, or the highest official in the region, that came out with all of the steps to turn Zamboanga State College into a university. And the event that we had today, and I would like to thank also Dr. Luningning Omar, who is the president of the university now.
The newly installed president.
Newly installed,
Yeah.
and congratulations to her. She went out all of her way and came up with an institute for Islamic studies, I think. Yes. So there's a portion of that library at the university where it is in tribute of my late father. And our foundation, the Albert Tugung Peace and Development Foundation, of which I am the president, we are going to provide the necessary support, like books, like computers. And it will take time, so when I return to America, probably I'm going to ask, our kababayans from Zamboanga Basilan to help us in that regard. And we also launched the website, the www.babtugungfdn.net, where, we have his biography, which we launched also today.
Good.
Do you have a copy of that book?
Your mom, because I left earlier,
Right.
I had to go ahead here to the studio to prepare the set because you're coming.
Right.
So your mom said, get a copy of the book. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to get. But Ray Banagudos told me, okay, don't worry, I'm gonna reserve a copy.
Yeah, we're going to give you a copy. So we launched his biography also this afternoon. So to me, this is a very significant event that we did for the late Bob Tugung.
Yeah. Well, indeed, Joey, it was so significant, the affair we had this afternoon,
Yeah.
With all former officials of LTP,
Yes.
friends who knew your father too well, friends whom he was able to help, when he was there, were ordered to brace the occasion. And,
Yes.
and we are happy. We are so happy.
And I would say you had a good testimony about my late father. And not only you, we had also former Colonel.
Yes. He's one of the closest.
Yeah, one of the closest. In fact, he told me after the event, he embraced me, he hugged me, Joey, you look like your father, and I am the brother of your father. We had a blood compact. I think they had this blood compact. And he said he's happy, he's proud that we had this event, and he wanted to continue the legacy of my late father. And there were other speakers as well. But the testimony that you had, it is not something that is isolated. I just would like to tell our audience, while we have around 4 or 5 close people of my late father that gave testimony, I would say not only hundreds, not only thousands. I would say, modesty aside, I'm not bragging, there are millions of Filipinos and even foreigners that can speak well about my late father, because during his time, he died 47 years old, but during that time, when he was elected as councilor of city of Basilan then, and that was in 1968, he was able to reach across the country, the inter-archipelago, from Luzon down to Mindanao.
He was well loved by everybody.
Yeah, well loved by everybody, and we are the number one beneficiary of his legacy. That's why I told them during the event this afternoon, and you already left because of the show. I told them that I should know regarding his legacy, because everywhere I go in this country, and every time I come here, because I do also my vacation in different provinces. When I introduce myself, when I chance upon people, when I meet them, when I introduce myself and they hear the word Tugung, they will immediately ask me, are you the brother of Bob Tugung? Are you the son of Bob Tugung? And when I say that, they will immediately tell me, oy, kilala ko yung tatay mo. Magaling magsalita. He's a parliamentarian, a debater, an orator, etc., etc. Dignified.
He was a media man.
Yes.
He was a journalist.
Yes,
he was
yes.
a publisher,
Right. And the beauty of that, I can tell you, people might have forgotten that before my late father became a politician in 1968, he started as a journalist.
Right.
We had the only one newspaper in Basilan, Basilan News.
Yes.
And his byline, he used an anonymous name, was Christine. And probably in order to make himself was this popular, but that was not the primary reason. But he was somehow very constructively critical of the administrator then of Mayor Brown. Yes, so he started to come up with all these commentaries, and that made him popular as a journalist. And the beauty of being a journalist, if you seek for a public office, and that is what I've learned from my late father, you can read the pulse of the people.
Right.
You can never be a journalist if you don't know what is happening.
Right.
You deal with people.
You've got to have, the kind of analytical mind.
Yes.
That would really, let the people know exactly what people in government are thinking or are doing.
Exactly.
You have to be, not really critical in a sense that you will go against what they're doing, but critical in a sense that you always have to watch what they should do that would be done to public welfare and interest.
Right. And I would like to use that word as a journalist. The word is catalyzer.
Right.
So that's what he does. At the time when he was still a journalist, he listens to people, he reads the mind of people, and he serves as a catalyst of all these opinions, whether positive or negative, because it was not all negative when he wrote, you know, in that in that newspaper. So he became the voice of the people. Look, Mr. Mayor Brown, look, City Administrator, this is the voice of the people. This is what they're saying. This is the claymore. This is what is going wrong with your administration.
And that ought to be the role of people in media.
Yes, that ought to be the role of people in media. That should be the role, because the role is to be a catalyzer and tell, you know, the mayor of
Crystallize public issues.
Right. So that was a good background for him. So when he was elected, and he went to the higher level, higher position, and he was able to crystallize, able to concretize, say everything about the people's needs.
And you know what? Modesty aside, I see exactly the traits of your father in you. I mean, without making it sound that I am saying this because I want to praise you, but exactly,
Thank you.
exactly, I have been part of your dad's, rise, because I was working with him. We treat him like a big brother. In fact, we call him Otro Bob.
Yes.
In Sama, when you address somebody as Otro Bob,
Right.
there is that respect,
Right.
and there is that some kind of as if you know the man from head to foot.
Right.
And that was not strange, because we come from the same place. We were born in Tawi-Tawi, but despite the fact that he was born in Tawi-Tawi, he loved Basilan.
Yes.
And all his life, we could see that he has devoted his time, his effort to make Basilan a place livable for everybody.
Right.
I think that was the biggest legacy of your late dad.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
But going to what you said earlier, that you sound like your late father, you look like your late father. I am humble, but I can never approximate him because there is only one, Bob Tugung. Can never. He's 1 in 10 million probably. But if I may sound like him, it is because of his wisdom. People have good perceptions of him as a public servant. But I have, a better perception of him because he is my father.
Yeah.
At home, I know who he is. And this is what he said to me. Joey, education is very important. You are nothing, you're a born loser if you cannot earn a degree. That's the ticket to success. The guarantee to success is education. So that is the number one wisdom that he gave to me. So I aspired for that. I took up political science. I took up Bachelor of Laws. And incidentally, that was also his educational degree. Political science and law. And incidentally, him and me, we are both bar flankers. But it does not make him less of a man,
Right.
and me less of a man, just because we did not pass the bar examination.
Right.
And look where he at the time when he died, where he was at the pantheon of the pinnacle of political power.
Well, you mentioned that with all due respect to our friends who are lawyers and the law profession for that matter, the measure of true education or of the ability of a person, like for example in the law profession, I think it may be necessary that you pass the bar, but then like what you said, we see so many lawyers who pass the bar, but are not really that impressive.
Right.
Especially when they appear before public forums,
Right.
when they speak, they are not that articulate.
Right.
But Bob Tugung was one man, who was so articulate,
Very.
Every time he would face public, he would talk. Immediately, he can capture the audience
Yes.
because he knows how to, express himself,
Yes.
say the right words.
Yes.
And that was something unique in your dad.
Yes. The common denominator of Bob Tugung when it comes to his legacy is his eloquence.
Right.
A good public speaker. But knowing him as my father, while it will appear as natural, he earned for it.
Oh, yeah.
As you said, he started as a journalist, and he's also an educator.
Right.
He's a professor in history and political science. So he honed his skills both in writing and in public speaking because of being an educator and also as a journalist. Okay? And not only that, if only people will know, he does his homework. When he arrives at home, he will take his time, even though he will arrive at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. You know how busy a person he was at the time. He will find time to read. He will read Newsweek, he will read Times, he will read Asia Week, and beyond that, he will read passages of the Holy Quran.
He was a very spiritual man.
Right.
Yeah, he was so spiritual. Yeah.
His eloquence came from all of this. And he told me at the time, Joey, if you want to be a good speaker, it should come from your heart. You don't have to prepare a speech.
Right.
It should come from your heart, but you have to go beyond that. You have to read. His reading is unsatiable. He said education never stops. Always read, read, read. So that's why it is not surprising why he's an eloquent speaker.
Yeah. I do agree with that. I do agree. Okay, you know, this is a very interesting time to talk with Joey here, the illustration of the late Chairman Bob Tugung. But before we proceed to the next, discussion of issues and topics, we will pause for our reminder. Okay, friends, we are back. Mga bisinos, konversa kita na Chabacano kay si Joey, sabi man, makiniadurela na Amerika, fluent pa siyempre si Chabacano, no?
Right.
So, taki si Joey, kung aquellos hindi pa conoce si Joey, LL anak del antes chairman del LTP, lupong tagapagpaganap ng puok, the late Honorable Ulbert Ulama, or popularly known to Bob as Bob to friends, Tugung. So Joey Tugung is the eldest son.
Yes.
Joey, sabi to, el mga vivientes di ato na kinasambuanga, na Basilan, na Entero Peninsula, hindi pwede olvida cosa el legacia del litio late daddy.
Yes.
Kay, so many of us, so many of the people here consider him as a man of peace. Bonito el cosa le hace como chairman le, ya puede le ayuda, no? At the time, a reconciliation program del Presidente Marcos. Ya puede le mansucceed.
Yes.
Ahora, como tú, no? Como un hijo de suyo, cosa tamira tú el hindi tú puede olvidar el contribution de tu late daddy acerca del peace, the enhancement of peace, the effort towards peace here in Mindanao, and particularly aquí Canato.
It's like this. Okay, regarding na Chabacano. Sabi pa tamin yung kumpara sa Chabacano. Masking kita tayo masking tayo kita na Amerika, hindi kita ubida di ato na dialect. And sabi tamin yung kumpara sa Sama, sabi tayo yung kumpara sa Tausug, Bisaya. So, sabi kita sa
How about Yakan?
Yakan, a little bit of Yakan. And I should be ashamed of myself because my mother is a Yakan. Okay, so anyway, regarding peace in Mindanao, how I wish that my late father was alive, still alive. Because if he was just alive, it's not because I am his son. Okay, it's because it comes from people. When I meet people in Zamboanga, in Basilan, or anywhere I go, they told me, Joey, your father is a man of peace. That's why el libro di mio tata, el biography, the title is A Man of Peace.
Amo sa yan lunch in dinante,
amo sa libro yan lunch dinante, A Man of Peace. And that is very fitting. Why? Because during his time when he was the LTP chairman and also executive director of the office of the regional commissioner, he was the spokesman of peace in Mindanao because magulo man nagka-tiyempo
Si.
at the height of the rebellion of the MNLF. And Nur Miswari was the head of the MNLF. And they were creating problems not only in the region but entire Mindanao because then may pamangkilala MILF. So my father was tasked by then Admiral Romulo Espaldon, to cross the bridge and educate people. And that's what he does best, educate about peace. And he's a person who loves his enemies. Very forgiving. Makaispantagat ko na ni Tata according to them. He loves his enemies more compared to his friends. A very forgiving person. Si Bob Tugung. Now, so in the discussion of peace that we have here in Mindanao, if the person that is going to discuss peace does not have peace in his heart, it's useless for him to discuss peace.
Correct.
And you can only have peace in your heart if you are at peace with God. And you cannot be at peace with God if you are not a spiritual person. You cannot preach what you are not practicing. And Bob Tugung is that person. A very religious person, a spiritual person. That's why earlier, akaltalak kita na Wimsu, and even in Basilan, when I had my message, I started with the salutation, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Peace be upon us, to my brother Christians and Muslims. Because I always remember, there has never been a time that my late father, when he speaks in any forum for that matter, he starts with that salutation.
And
peace.
He was a Haji.
Yes.
He went to Mecca for the pilgrimage.
Yes.
To perform one of the 5 pillars of Islam.
Yes, yes.
Truly a man of peace.
Yes.
Truly a man of peace.
And I even told them, I related to them an inside information of his life at home. Where can you find a public leader, and I hope our political leaders, he prays 5 times a day.
Right.
Regardless of his activities, no matter how stressful it is, even at the middle of the night, he arrives at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, yet he will always have the time to pray. And when he wakes up in the morning, yadurmi lang rin 3 oras, 4 oras, kitang jogging manili. He will start the day with a prayer.
He was a practicing Muslim.
Yeah, that is exactly. He was a practicing Muslim. And the beauty of Bob Tugung, the Christians at that time, they were so comfortable with him. They loved him. Okay, they felt so secure with him. Because here is a man who is a Muslim, and he holds dearly his religion, and yet he deals with his brother Christians very fair.
Right.
Where can you find that kind of leader? He will not discriminate. He will not distinguish anyone by reason of your social standing in life. He does not discriminate you by reason of your race, creed, religion, or views in life. He will always treat you fairly because he practices what he preaches. And he is well grounded by his conviction, by his religion. And how we wish that our leaders of today will also be that kind of leader. How can you be a real public servant in the truest sense of the word if you don't have a good moral, conduct? You're spiritual. Kaya kita ladron. That's why a lot of our leaders are ladron. They're corrupt. Okay, the kind of life that they live.
Because they lack that foundation.
Yes, they lack that foundation as a spiritual and moral person. So that's what I learned from my late father. Son, bangkaw ilo na yuk na bang so pamayuk na mapolitics now. Because we speak in the dialogue. Magsinama kita, may tawi-tawi. Nayuk na mga po bangkaw yuk na mapolitics. Subayok na agamata, Islam. You have to hold it dearly. That is your foundation, that is your root. You will never go wayward. You can never be corrupted by the forces of evil. So I inculcated that in me. That's why he has a very transparent government, and that's how he conducted his life with people in public and even at home.
And you know what, Joey, modesty aside, kita ba? Kita, anak tawi-tawi kita. Anak sama. Ay ba ito, proud kita. Proud kita, aniya, by the leader na nakanta bete, Father no, late Bob Tugung, sambat no, sanitiya, magsambahaya. And then, practicing Muslim.
Yes.
But despite the fact niya niya Muslim, ka Christian,
yes.
Abilahi maiya. Sabab, ay ba ito, hinang na, sila kasidya kahapan ma Muslim, kahapan ma, kaya man manusia.
Yes.
Sali do Muslim, sali do Christian.
Right. I have never seen a leader nung mania bitanda po a Muslim leader. It's not because again he is my late father. Where the national leadership, people in national government, respected him. In fact, he was not only the ambassador of goodwill for the people of Region 9, but he was also an ambassador of goodwill for the Muslims. Because at that time, at the height of the rebellion, that was in the 70s and even during the early 80s, the Christians, okay, every time they deal with my late father, in any forum, in any convention, seminar where he attended, okay, they felt so relieved.
Yeah.
They felt so, they were in a comfort zone that here comes a Muslim, hindi galian sila mga Muslim.
Si.
Mga Muslim tamang gali, chine tamang gali mga bueno,
Si.
intelligente pa, smarte pa,
Si.
and he speaks about peace.
Hindi lang intelligente, hindi lang smart, tiene patura. Personality, you know, you live that.
Yeah, right.
One thing I cannot forget, and this was so distinct in him, was his sartorial elegance.
You are exactly
I
right.
was so very
Right.
impressed with the way how the late Bob Tugung dressed up for the occasion, rightly every occasion. Sabi kat liko sa labisti.
Yeah,
Buen mudada kayo.
yes, that he is known for that.
Just like you.
I will add to that. No, that is also one of his legacy,
Right.
and this is one of those many things that he imparted to me. He said, "Son, yuk naman ako, since I was in elementary lagi, okay, going to high school and college," he said, "You have to dress well. People will give you respect when you dress well. Even though you're a poor man, if you dress well, you dress neatly, people is going to respect you." So that is why he always, you know, he was considered as the best dressed man in Zamboanga City and even the region.
Definitely.
Jackman at that time, he was the model of Jackman. Jackman ba kaya?
Jackman,
Jackman? Oo. So Amokel, every time he, aga pa si tamuda ka debonamente, and even irons his clothes.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you also with regards to being sartorial,
Yeah.
the dapper-looking Bob Tugung. If you want to analyze about it, arat na pwede lang yung man-realize. The reason why he's a good man, it reflects the psychology of that person.
Right.
If you dress well, meaning your mind is clean.
Clean.
It's neat. Pero si tamuda di aton mga elected leaders, de sapatos goma, may ni calcitin, maong ragged.
Paanda na session, kumu, el camisa,
Yeah.
depe, makimpelo, hindi pena.
So it just shows in terms of psychology, I'm not a psychologist, but it reflects what kind of mentality that they
You're
have.
right.
Na kwerpo lang gani di ila, masusyo ya sila.
Si.
Meaning, the kind of life that they live is also masusyo.
So how can they straighten up the life of people?
Exactly.
Exactly on their own, they cannot.
No pwede. So, amo kaya pwede yung sa psychology ko nila, kung nabalo kumigo, son, you have to dress well. No matter what. When you wake up, you have to dress well. And I have observed that of him. I did, yeah.
You know, husto ka to ko sa tabla. Atawa bisarano ilo. Sabab, itay to manusia, we are being judged by the way how we dress up, how we carry ourselves, how we behave.
Yes.
You know, there are specific, particular occasions wherein you have your presence should be felt by the people, but it cannot be felt by the people if if you go there and dress shabbily and then
Tupaw, agad to kumigo, I know there are elected leaders, councilors, or governors and mayors, public officials, they should dress well because it reflects the psychology of that. And not only that, more so, you have to give respect to your position.
correct. The dignity.
The dignity, that's the word, the dignity of your position. You aspired for that position, then you have to live up to the expectations for that position.
Correct.
And I notice some of our public officials, I chance upon them, when I come to Zamboanga, I see them in Orchid Garden, tamuda, the t-shirt lang. Nasapatos ko,
Hindi man kita ta mira baho kanila.
Ano, yes.
Hindi man. Pero el di aton, tabla lang kita, causal expectation, kumo kita, tamira kita kanila, ang mga publiko.
Right.
Di ba?
Right.
Amo kaya na
Yeah, just to clarify,
Si.
I am not criticizing our political leaders the way they dress. It's just that I am telling them And as you said, that's the right word. You have to give dignity to your position.
Because you wanted to be that.
Right.
So talieto, yadali chance contigo na gente,
Sí.
idali tamin to be presentable before the people.
Yes. So, that's also one of those things that I've learned from I learned a lot of things from
Oh yeah, he was,
really.
he was such a great man. Your late dad, modesty aside, it's too bad, Joey, and we are, if we remember him for all the things that he has done, all the things that he stood for,
Right.
it was a very untimely passing.
Right.
He died so young, at the age of 42. He could have
No, 47.
47.
47 years old.
He could have gone, a long, long way.
Yes. And I was even thinking nung at that time, not because he was my late father, if he did not die, but I'll go a little bit back.
Okay, please.
The real reason why he was assassinated, it was because it was politically motivated.
Definitely.
Okay. There were people in Basilan, these are leaders, political leaders, who conceived with the idea that we cannot get Basilan. This will not go to us. We will not be in this position as a governor or whatever it is if Bob Tugung is still alive. Because at the time, he was already chosen to run for senator. Remember, it was a revolutionary government.
Yeah.
Revolutionary government.
It was New Society,
After
Marcos.
No, at the revolutionary government. Cory Aquino, when she took over the position.
Yeah.
And then we had we introduced the new constitution in 1986. Okay, I can talk a lot of things of that.
Yes.
In 1986, okay, when he died, November. Before that, he was at the forefront, helping the Aquino administration to educate people in the entire country regarding constitution. In other words, he was one of those, along with Salonga, those prominent, illustrious politicians, the Tañadas, the Diokno. In fact, that was even, he was still daydreaming. He always tell me, you know what, son? Ako na no? Bisiyan bise? Kung sino? Yung na, this is Salonga. I never thought that I will be with them. But they believe in him, the way he talked, the way he postulated his vision. He was so articulate such that the Aquino administration at the time requested him to go out and campaign to ratify the Constitution.
A charismatic leader.
A very charismatic leader. So, he was there at the time. So I said, so they came out with the idea, and I knew that for a fact, that the first 24 senators to run at that time, one of them was Bob Tugung to represent Region 9. And for Region 12 was Tamano. Yeah, Tamano, the late
senator.
The late Senator Tamano. Mamintal Tamano. So Bob was already chosen to run. And one of those very ambitious politician, okay, wanted to run for senator, to be in that position. So thinking that if he's going to be assassinated, then he's going to fill in the vacancy. Yes. So it was really, it saddened us. He's dead. It was painful. It was hurting. But because he's a peacemaker, a man of peace, and a very forgiving person, we followed my late father. We knew who were his suspects. We knew who were the mastermind. But I told my mother, useless para po sa man kita. Justice should be served by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we should not take it into our hands. Do we have the capability of doing it? Yes, we do. But what will I turn out to be? I will not be the son of Bob Tugung if I am going to, retribution or revenge and kill, whoever was the mastermind in the killing of my late father. So what we did, my brother, my sister, my mother, we forgave all of them. And that should be the kind of public servant we should have. Because killing will only feed to another killing. And can man losing it, it will be the people. Every time,
violence begets violence.
Yeah, violence begets violence. And el kasupri, el mga gente. So I hope, our politicians, when they move around, they have all of these bodyguards, 10, 15, 20, and I understand, mga Tiene pa mga outstanding warrant of arrest, and then you they threaten, they coerce people, si tiene kontra, anda sila matakit, ang saper, el mga bibientes di ato.
It's time that we put an end to this,
Yes.
to this kind of practice.
Now, would you imagine when, when Bob Tugung died? Uno lang galing di si bodyguard. Only one! And he was the highest civilian official in Region 9. He was the little president. Where can you find that kind of person with only one bodyguard? In fact, he was not even a bodyguard. He was a valet. Akil ba, sapatos, plancha kamisa, kanda el mga kwan. He was not like a bodyguard. Oh, because he does not fear with the way he lives his life. Ele ta pensan mo ele kontra. Because a man of peace.
Well, anyway, tali habla to, a life del Dad, which many people admired so much.
Right.
Truly a man of peace. No le pensa el cosa bueno ya se le sucede ka lansina.
Right.
Pero in this world, no sabi kita cosa pensamiento de mga gente.
Yeah,
Sabi kita, But then we say, truly, things like this has got to stop. Violence will not, do anything good if our intention is to really be in public service, to help the people.
Right.
So, ulpidya kita sa mga ansina klase.
And
We admire so much your family for not taking the law into your own hands.
No, we never.
Leaving the dispensation of justice to the one and only sole dispenser,
Yes.
which is the Almighty God.
Almighty God, yes. And I would like to share something regarding peace in Mindanao.
Please.
Okay. In relation to the autonomous government.
Please.
And people might not know, especially the younger generation, the current autonomous region for Muslim Mindanao. The precursor to that, before this, was the Office of the Regional Commissioner, okay, and then followed by
LTP,
LTP,
the Regional Executive Council.
the Regional Executive Council.
Which was, I think, established by virtue of Presidential Decree 1680
Yeah, 1680.
of President Marcos.
President Marcos. Because at that time, the MNLF was aspiring or seeking, and that was their objective, to secede Mindanao.
Yeah.
That is what...
Independence.
Independence, Mindanao, because according to them, Mindanao belonged to the Muslims. But here comes a very rational person, a peacemaker, Bob Tugung. What he did, okay, he fought for autonomy. He even went out of his way to meet, not necessarily to argue, to reason out with Nur Biswari. He was one of those group, the delegation that went to Saudi Arabia, okay, and Egypt, and even went out of his way to meet with Nur Biswari in Sakul Island, okay, trying to convince him, look, cannot come up with secession. The best way is autonomy. Autonomy would already give, what is due to the Muslims. So he was one of those public officials that started to build the building blocks of autonomy. Started with ORC, then the LTP-9,
LTP,
until such time we have the autonomies for ARM. But sad to say no, okay, consider this as politics. We have the worst autonomous government in Mindanao.
Well, in fact,
Worst.
In fact, in conjunction to what you just said, no less than the present government, through the spokesman, the Attorney Lasierda, said publicly that as far as Malacanang is concerned, they believe that the present arm is a failed experiment.
It's like this.
So, what's your comment on that? What's your?
I can say, this is my answer now, with all due respects to you. The concept of autonomy under the Constitution, the framework, the theory of the autonomous government, I would say is perfect, okay? Because that is a concession to the original aspiration of the Muslim people to have secession
Or
independence. The only problem is the people who were appointed initially, people who were elected later in that position. And I feel so ashamed, so insulted on my part already given the opportunity ng mga hermano de aton Muslims, talya na position, and yet they did not give justice to that position.
No man deliver.
Nuay man deliver el goods. Would you imagine, we're talking of not only millions of pesos, el annual budget del ARM, we're talking of billions of pesos.
Yeah.
And what did they do? Very glaringly, very corrupt. Di ang patuans, billions of pesos.
El mga mansion.
El mga mansion.
El mga fleet of cars.
Fleet of cars and everything, etc.
El mga jewelries.
Mga jewelries.
El mga foreign trips.
Yes. If only,
Etc.
etc. If only the regional governor, the vice governor, and down to the assemblyman of the ARM, okay, were real public servants, I will tell you, all the municipalities, cities, and provinces under the ARM could have been a very progressive, community, a region, and a city. And how I wish, not because, again, Tata Ledimio, how I wish he was alive. Because if he was alive, I'll tell you, all of those money, annual budget, it will be properly dispensed, rightfully so, to all of the cities, provinces under the ARM.
You know what? One thing I cannot forget with the late chairman was when he built the Palace of Peace, Palacio de Paz, or the Kabatangan Complex.
Yes.
He was very, very instrumental in the construction of that. Before we proceed, we are now approaching the last portion of the show. We will have one more commercial. Please don't go away. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Okay, friends, we're back. We have the last 15 minutes remaining for the show, and I'd like to take this opportunity. I thank so much Joey for coming over to be my guest in this 20th episode. This is the 20th episode already of the show, and we are coming out live from the studios of Channel 50 Sky Cable. So Joey, knowing your late father, who was a man of peace, who was a good leader, and you following in his footsteps, I hope you don't mind asking you this, and I think people would also like to know if you have any plans in the future to enter politics like what your late father did.
Well, that is a proverbial question. Whether I like it or not, si Tanmicho mga gente, even immediately after his demise in 1986, they always ask me, Joey, kore ba ito na politika? Are you going to join politics? It never ends. Every time I come home, di ka nabasilan o sambuanga, kore ba ito na politika? Pregunta contigo. Because of, my late father, the statue. Now, this is my answer to them, which I said also yesterday. I told them the answer is yes and no. Okay? I'll start with no. Why? Okay? No, because I have an obligation and responsibility to my children. And all of my
who are all in the United States?
Yes, all of them are United States, and I have to see them finishing college. I don't want to abandon them. I want to shepherd them to the right path. Because, I'm following the wisdom of my late father. He said, son, education is very important. So that's why I put premium to that wisdom. So por eso talyayo paragiya din yung mga anak. Now, but once they're done in college, and I'm looking at in the next 5 or 6 years, they know, my children know, that I'm coming home and continue the legacy of my late father. So when I come home, and I don't know when will that be, if it will coincide with the election, because the election there's a 3-year cycle.
Yeah, 2013.
2013, and then, of course, 2013 is a no, okay? 2016, maybe, but 17, 19, 2000, most likely, okay? Because it's like this. Hindi kay por causa kere lang yung continua el disuligasiya. Because I have also to build my own niche. I have to be a different from my late father. Because as I've said, I cannot replicate what he has done. He is one in a million. Very rare.
There's only one Bob Tugung.
There's only one Bob Tugung, okay? So, El Dimio, I want to serve because I have seen in him, okay, that satisfaction of serving people. Because he said to me, son, service to humanity is the highest, the penultimate deed in this temporal world. Because when you serve humanity, when you serve people, in the real sense of the word, then that is akin to service to God. So that's precisely why, if the question is, are you going to run? Yes. Can I serve people in different ways and different means? The answer is yes. I can be an advocate of an NGO, etc., etc. But I cannot change the lives of people. I cannot build infrastructures, or etc., etc. If I am not in the position. Yes. So that's why I always tell them, yes, I am running, but when no. I do not know. Now, there is this another question also, Joey. Now, by the time siguro ito, diyan ba to send? Because politics nowadays is all about money.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. Por eso ganit, to me, it's very repulsive to me. When people say, na, si Kerito ito na politika, ni si Kamadada to send.
Pero disil, siyansina el pensamiento, perdon na lang mga vivientes di aton. Tasa lang politika como negosyo.
Right. And
which is not good.
Yes, which I want to elucidate. I told them, look, if I am going to run, okay, I might not be relevant anymore when it comes to tablo ustedes que nisita you send. I said, I don't care anymore. I am going to run and I'm not going to use money to buy people's vote. Okay? Why? It is a debasement, a degradement of the memory of my late father. If you want me in that position, then elect me for who I am. Not because of the money that I have, not because I vote for you. Por eso, el dato mga politicians ara, hindi makaispanta. Porque majority of them are ladron. Because to them, it's an investment. Gasta sila ara, compra sila de ustedes voto. Of course, they have to replenish what was displaced.
Sinapuesto yan sila.
Sinapuesto, rubakel sila. Is that the kind of leaders that we have today?
Pobre siempre la gente.
Pobre siempre la gente. Now, this is also an education on the part of the people. Not only in Basilan, but in the country.
All over.
Endemic. It's a cancer. Diba? Now, people, ustedes tamen, no matamen ustedes vender voto. You know, if I get the money today, if this is election now, they buy my vote for 2,000, 3,000 pesos. Un saco de arroz, mga leche and everything, all these canned goods, the groceries and everything. That will only last probably for 1 day or 2 days. And yet, for the 3 years period, you suffer. You have to weigh the risk. Mr. Tabla ko, ¿por qué no ustedes vende el voto? Don't you know the bigger picture?
Sabi to Joey, como na America.
Si.
You have been there for the last 10 years. Me, at least, thanks, I was able to at least have 2 trips already to America, visiting my children, and more or less I have seen the practice in America.
Right.
Donamente, no hay comprado de voto.
And
then mga politiko, alilang mandibate lang issues at television.
Right.
And then people will just judge them on the basis of their competence, their qualifications, their track record.
To Pauto. Yeah, to Pauto, exactly right. You know, the political maturity of the people in our country has not gone up. Okay? Biyambaho pa lang kita siyempre. Look, in the States, it's issues-driven. Where you stand. That's why there are only 2 parties, Republicans and the Democrats. And they have an ideology where they stand on gender issues, on gay marriage, on the economy, etc., etc. Aki ko nato na Pilipinas, no, it's driven by your personality.
Multi-party.
Multi-party kita, driven by personality, si sikat to, maskin pa to bomonaso, na ipatuko siya gradwa, bota lang kutigo. Kabar, amo gani, talking about money. We should not complain if our leaders ladron, if they're incompetent, if they are inept, because there is always a saying, and now I remember again my late father, you deserve a government or a leader whom you have elected.
Correct.
Por eso, si vende tu boto di tuyo, sabi man to na mali kwalifikasyon, sabi man to kaya kompra di tuyo boto, si tanya le na posisyon, asile pendejadas, asile ladronadas di suyo, then do not complain because you're a part of it. You created a monster in that politician. So hopefully, na Zamboanga, in the entire region, hopefully they're not going to do that.
Yes.
Don't sell your votes. Give them a lesson. Don't give them the ticket to be in that position because kita lang man suffer.
And it is only when you elect people on the basis of that that they will be there.
Right.
Diba?
Yes.
So, debe avoid. No magat elihin o mabutahin te agal kumutabla to select them on the basis of their competence, their qualification, their track record.
Yes, yes. So, how I wish na that's what I call political maturity. And we should be responsible as a, as a constituent of this community. No man lang kita pensa di aton cuerpo. Pensa kita el entero comunidad, okay? We should all be united. We should educate the younger generation. And the responsibility lies with our parents. Okay, kanaton as a parent, we have to educate them that, it is very important that we have to exercise the right of suffrage prudently, judiciously. Choose the rightful leader. Don't ever sell your votes. If there is a politician who is going in his campaign, selling their votes, okay, giving you all of these things, I'll tell you, don't ever vote for that candidate. Don't ever. Because he already showed this manifestation. What kind of person he will turn out to be as a leader if he's in the position. Because he's going to get your money. Because that's taxpayers' money. Oh. So
well said. Well said. I hope, somehow what you have said will serve as, a reminder.
Hopefully.
To the good people of Zamboanga, Basilan, and the entire peninsula.
Yes, because I think your show is being showed na entire region, huh?
Well, yeah. We are being watched, of course, here in Zamboanga through cable.
Right.
And also, this is being shown also in Basilan,
Good.
in Sulu, and in Tawi-Tawi. So it's kind of peninsula-wide.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have no more time left, Joey. How I wish we could stay for another 1 hour to discuss the issues. Talking to someone like you is never a dull moment. You're just like your late dad, because somehow I had also an occasion knowing him, being with him when I was working with him.
Right.
So before we close the show, may I just allow you again have the privilege of having some parting words to our televiewers.
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank you again. Pideta nyo gracias contigo no. It's a pleasure to be in your show. Great to be in your show. But I would like to end this with a footnote regarding the late Bob Tugung. He is a person that is worthy to be emulated, proud to be emulated, because he is a public servant in the real sense of the word.
An inspiration to all of us.
An inspiration to all of us. We did not create Bob Tugung. We did not create his legacy. The book that we have is not our creation. It was his constituents. It was you, ustedes mga vivientes, conoce ustedes con Bob Tugung. You were the one who created him because you speak well of him. And you have inspired him to make him a better person. So this is the legacy that he has given us, and we must continue. It is not only incumbent upon us, but all of us in the entire region, peninsula, as you said.
Well,
thank you.
With those parting words, Joey, thank you so much. I am so honored to have you this evening on my show. Friends, our show tonight is dedicated to the late Chairman Bob Tugung on the occasion of his 25th death anniversary. And we are here to pay tribute to the goodness, the greatness, and the spirituality of the man. And I thank so much Joey, his son, for being here. He came all the way from the United States just to be here for this great occasion. Joey, thank you so much. Magsukol taongan Macao. Muchas gracias. Friends, we will end another edition of your show, Cuento, Politica, Otro. This is gonna be shown again this coming Saturday and will be replayed for the entire week. Please make it a habit. Always watch Cuento, Politica, Otro. Nung Jihil here saying good evening and good night to the good people of Zamboanga and the entire peninsula. Muchas gracias.